on. Let's call this meeting to order of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners Planning and Building Committee. Today is Tuesday, June 5, 2018. Could we have a roll call, please?
Crawford.
Here.
McGilvray.
Here.
Dwyer is absent with notice. Teets.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Whitebird.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Could you please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Could we have approval of the previous minutes of May 8th?
So,
Motion by Commissioner Crawford, supported by Commissioner McGilvery. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passed. Could we have approval of today's agenda? Motion by Commissioner Crawford, supported by Commissioner Jackson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passed. Moving on to public comment. Is there anybody here from the public wishing to make any comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to today's regular agenda. Item number 1 is the Parks and Recreation Commission recognized in July 2018 as National Recreation and Parks Month. Moved by Commissioner Crawford, supported by Commissioner McGilvert.
Perfect.
Good morning.
Good morning. Dan Stencil, Executive Officer, Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission. This is an annual effort by the National Parks and Recreation Association to draw attention to the program services and facilities that Parks and Recreation provides, and the quality of life and the benefits that we provide to create great communities here in Oakland County and across this country. So we would ask you to help us recognize July as 2018 National Parks and Recreation Month.
Any comments, discussion, questions? Parks doing good? Yes.
We're off and running. Water parks open this weekend.
Great. Let's call the roll, please.
Crawford.
yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Teets.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Whitebird.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. That
Yeah.
passed. Item number 2 is Parks and Recreation Commission 2018 Fair Food Network Double Up Food Bucks Grant Acceptance. Need a motion? Commissioner Crawford, supported by Commissioner McGilvery.
I'm being joined by Jeremy Brown, our Assistant Park Supervisor at Waterford Oaks, and the manager of the Farmers Market, and he'll provide you with the details of this grant opportunity.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. The Double Up Food Bucks program is a food assistance program that we do at the market. When customers come in and use their bridge card, their SNAP benefits, it is a matching program, and we can match those SNAP dollars up to $20 per day per person, which effectively doubles their purchasing power for fresh produce at the market. And I did pass out to each one of the commissioners when I first got here a couple photos, because visuals are always nice. What these photos are, we had a guest come into the Oakland County Farmers Market one day and wanted to thank us for participating in the Double Up Food Bucks program. And she showed us these pictures. She says, this is what this program has allowed me to do. You know, so she's really been able to stock her pantry while the produce is in season, and then she can enjoy it throughout the off season, the winter months. So I think that's a feel good, that makes me feel good. I get goosebumps. That's a feel good story, and this is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to help those, on food assistance benefits stretch their dollars. So it's a good program for those individuals. It's also a good program for the vendors, because all of these dollars are spent directly with our farmers. And we are a producer-only market, so the products you see at the market are grown by the vendors. So we ask that you approve the Double Up Food Bucks grant and help us move the process along.
Any questions? How long through the summer how long does it last? I mean, is it?
This program actually runs year-round for us.
But do the funds run out at August when everything's really in?
No, we've actually been able to, at the end of the program this year, we had a couple $1,000s left. Okay. So we're actually able to, the $15,000 lasted through the whole season. So this $15,000 will keep the leftover money from last year, and this $15,000 will then go into the pot as well. It's for fresh Michigan-grown produce. So even in the off-season, we still have produce at the market into March. We'll still have apples, we'll have root vegetables, the carrots, the parsnips, potatoes. So we really effectively, we have Michigan-grown produce throughout the entire season. Late March, when that thins out, we still have the greenhouse produce that comes in, the greens, the microgreens. So, you know, sometimes it's hard to imagine, but we do have Michigan-grown produce throughout the entire year.
Do participants use it every time the market's open? I mean, is it?
Yes, yeah, you know,
The use is more during the summer months, obviously,
Absolutely.
but we do get some use in the off-season.
yeah, and if there's something that's not available, they can keep these tokens, and there is no expiration date on the tokens. So they can use them, they can stockpile them in the winter, and then come back in the summer, and, you know, when everything's, you know, full in effect, and do their shopping.
And are you letting them know it's available all year?
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, Oakland County Parks, the farmers market was one of the few markets that were allowed to do this program year-round. Most of them run through, I want to say, April through October. And then last year, we were asked to continue the program year-round because we do have a year-round viable farm market.
And you might cause any questions?
I just have a quick one.
Commissioner
So
Jackson?
do we market this program through, OSA, the Community Action Agency, Pontiac?
Well,
Proximity and.
yes, they are aware of it. I am on the Healthy Oakland Partnership, which they are a part of. Also, the new Oakland County Food Policy Council. We both sit on those boards, and yes, they are aware. Sure, we can always do better, and we always strive to continue to find ways to let the public know that this is available.
Okay. Well, as members on that board, currently here in Gilroy, you know, we have the opportunity to go and help toot the horn as well, so thank you.
And we have an information station at the market where this information is all available and provided to the public.
One last question.
Yes, Commissioner.
These examples of canning, you know, I don't know how to can. I've never canned a thing in my life. Does the farmers market have any type of instruction on
We have
classes and things like
programs.
that?
We have Michigan State University Extension there, Robin Danto, health and nutrition educator. She has on occasion done a program where she provides information, but we have not done a hands-on program. There are some health department, I'd say rules. Canning can be,
A kitchen.
yeah, well, we don't have a commercial kitchen, but canning can be potentially hazardous, so it needs to be done in a very controlled way. So at this time, we haven't wanted to do that at the market, but I think there is opportunities going forward for doing something like that.
But there is print information and things like that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I want to follow up with Commissioner Jackson about marketing and or getting the word out. I mean, does the health department have information you printed?
Yes, we have little half-page flyers that we've given to the health department, primarily to their WIC clientele.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because it seems like if you get the word out, we'll get it out in the communities.
Yeah.
Especially if there's leftover money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, we did a mailer a couple of years back that went out to primarily people in Waterford and Pontiac, and it's amazing. You know, if they got on Wednesday, it was like Thursday and Saturday, they were coming with that flyer in their hand, you know, looking for the program. So.
Any other questions? Let's call roll.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Teets?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
Whiteford?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Item number 3 is Department of Facilities Management Performance Resolution for the governmental agencies to request state highway right-of-way permit from the Michigan Department of Transportation, and this will be an automatic direct referral to finance. Motion, Commissioner Teets, supported by Commissioner Jackson. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Paul Zackos, Property Manager with Facilities. I'm with Jason Warner with PE. The county owns a property on Cesar Chavez. It's the Materials Management Building, and the parking lot needs repaving. This is part of the CIP budget for 2018. FPE has PA engineering working on the planning. Part of the repaving is required to pave the aprons entrances, and that's in the state highway. So the MDOT has their own form, which is part of this resolution, to get a permit. It's a permit for all county properties, and I think the permit's good for quite a while. I'm not sure.
It is, yeah. I think we only have to do this application one time.
And this resolution is requesting that the board approve this permit application, so we can send it to MDOT.
Any questions? Yeah, I saw that, and it was a blanket for all properties and all homes. So it's kind of nice, kind of like the county road commission does a permit for towns.
Right.
It's good all year to have parades and road use, and so this is something.
And I asked facilities, they just hadn't done this permit, or hadn't had a need for the permit in the past, so this is something new, fairly, I guess.
Any other questions? And our property is, I've driven over there. How big is this parking lot?
I don't have the size of the
Or
parking
wasn't
lot
that giant?
offhand.
Price tag, but it was, I mean, just the apron touches the state road, so.
There's two entrances, I
That's what
believe.
brought it, that's what brought it to.
Yeah,
Right.
we have to work within the right of way to pave between our parking lot and the edge of the highway. So just the entrance drives coming in, that's where the permit's going to be for.
Okay. Any other questions? Call roll, please.
Teets,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McGillivray.
Yes.
Whiteford.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is facilities management, facilities planning and engineering, Children's Village Life Safety Enhancements Project. Need a motion? Moved by Commissioner Jackson, supported by Commissioner McGilvray.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I believe you all know Jody Obrow from Children's Village. I'm Art Holdsworth, Director of Facilities Management, for those of you that don't know me. The Facilities Management Department's undertaken an initiative to assess all of the buildings to make sure that we're up to date in terms of life safety per building codes. So the building codes change over time. We make renovations to buildings, offices move, walls move, new doors are put in. And so we've undertaken an initiative to assess all of our buildings and make sure that we're up to the proper codes. So over time, you'll see us coming back for resolutions that address different buildings. Since Children's Village is a 24/7 facility, campus, we wanted to do their campus first. And so we have had James Renault, who is an annual architect of ours, competitively bid architect of ours, who is an expert in building codes, make an assessment of all the Children's Village buildings. This is to, I can't remember if this is for the entire, this is going to cover the entire village.
Yes, everything except for J building.
Everything except J Building. So J Building's obviously the largest facility up there. And so we'll be coming back in 2019 with additional funding for J Building as well as a couple others. This is to do things like re-swing doors, changing out some doors, adding and relocating exit signs, adding emergency lighting, things like that. About 2/3 of the cost is going to be for Gamalski Building Services of Auburn Hills, which is a competitively bid contractor as well. And the other third roughly is going to be for electrical work, which is going to be handled internally. So just when I say re-swing doors, as you're in the case of a fire, there's a designated fire path. And so as you're moving in the direction of that fire path, the door needs to swing away from you when you come to it. In some cases, the doors are swinging in, for example. There's also other cases where you have emergency exit signs or don't have emergency exit signs in those paths of egress. Sometimes those paths of egress have changed over time. So again, there's all these variables that, over the last 20 or 30 years have changed, and so we're trying to address all of those now. Whenever we do a renovation in a particular area, we are making sure that all building codes, ADA, and so on are being met. But this is to take a holistic view of the building and the campus to make sure we're meeting everything all together instead of just, you know, isolated designated areas that we renovate individually. So that's a very long-winded explanation for a relatively small MR, but again, we're going to be coming to you with other MRs over time, so I wanted to make sure you had a good understanding of where we're coming from. And I'll open it up to any questions you might have at this point.
Any questions? And you initiated facilities, or does Children's Village request it?
It was kind of a combination because they had a fire marshal come in a couple of years ago and designate several improvements that they wanted made. And so we've made those improvements. There have been a couple of things that we're just now finally being able to resolve. But that got us thinking. You know, if you know, we've got these issues up there, where else do we have issues? And so we, again, had James Renault go out and assess all the buildings over the past year and a half. We were able to get money into the capital improvement plan for this in 2018, and here we are with the first step down that path.
Commissioner McGilvery.
This James Renault Architects, that dollar amount that he charges not in the project cost of $120,000. Is that correct?
That's correct. His fees were covered under Ed's professional services dollars, which is part of the general fund budget.
Any idea what the amount was? I'm just curious.
Well, this was to assess all of our buildings, including the district courts and everything, the courthouse and all. But it was under 100,000. I'm thinking it was around 70 altogether, but I'd have to go back and look it up.
Yeah, just for the village, Children's Village, it was around $10,000.
So on the age of Children's Village makes it kind of a special case. I mean, and the way it's set up on the campus too. I mean, all your buildings are
early 1970s, as far as when they were built. Yeah, and a lot has changed as far as programming, expectations, traffic patterns through the buildings, how we use them. So this is going to be excellent. It's going to be really money well spent.
good. Well, it's good to be proactive. You want to do that.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Call roll.
Jackson.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Teets.
Yes.
Whiteford.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. And the last item is, and that's going to be direct referral to finance. Item number 5 is Facilities Planning and Engineering Sheriff's Office, additional renovation of Patrol Services Building exterior project. Motion moved by Commissioner Crawford, supported by Commissioner McGilvery.
All right, good morning. Ed Joss, Manager of Facilities Planning and Engineering. The resolution before you is for additional renovations to our Patrol Services Building. The Patrol Services Building is the old Boy Scouts building, which is across the street from the Oakland County Credit Union. In the past, we had brought to you a resolution to do some improvements to that building. When we acquired that building from the Boy Scouts, it was pretty run down, and we had to do a lot of improvements to the exterior of it. During those renovations, we ran across a fairly severe issue with the roofing, something that was uncovered and not realized until we started taking things apart. So to piece that back together, to make the additional repairs, we need some additional funding for that. It's just over $19,000. It's not a big amount, but the money is coming from the CIP. We're going to use the miscellaneous line item in the CIP to cover that, and that's why the resolution is in front of you for your review and approval. Okay, so, at the roof peak, the way that the roof should have been constructed was, there should have been brackets and hangers used to hold the roof peak together. And when it was originally constructed, all they did was simply drive a nail from one into the other. And when we started taking things apart, there was actually a gap, 6 inches between the the rafters that came together at the peak. So we had to consult with a structural engineer and have some special brackets fabricated that would support and tie those together. If there is a silver lining in it, it is that when we first got into that building years ago, we had found some mold in the building, and that's because water was getting into the building, and we didn't know how, and we didn't know where. Well, we found out how and where. So now that is going to be fixed, not only do we not have to worry about the roof caving in on us, but we shouldn't have any problems with water and therefore mold.
Commissioner Teets?
Were the shingles covering it?
The shingle, yes, the shingles.
The shingles were covering it enough that you couldn't
Yeah,
see it by
and
observation.
I believe there was a ridge vent that capped over
Got
the
it.
peak too. So as they pulled apart, that ridge vent was
Covering
was
it.
hiding that. Yes.
They had Boy Scouts building it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe. This building was constructed in the early '80s, I believe, around 1981. So when we acquired it just a couple of years ago, we started to realize real quick that maybe it wasn't getting the maintenance that it needed over the time that it was not in our possession. So.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Crawford.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Teets.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Whitebird.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
We have communications. We have Parks and Recreation communication regarding the nature bus visit. And we have a memo from Art regarding upcoming leases of renewals. And we have a memo regarding building authority minutes. We need a motion to receive and file. Unless anybody's got any questions, Art's here. Motion by Commissioner Crawford, supported by Commissioner McGilvray. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passed. Aye. Any other business? Seeing no other business, we will call this meeting adjourned.